Okay, let's start with materials. I have a baking pan here that I'm going to use to put my shaving cream in. You can use any kind of shallow container. I have shaving cream. This is the cheapest kind I could find. You can use any kind of shaving cream for your suspension. I have food dye. This is basic cake decorating food dye that I got at the grocery store. I have barbecue skewers that I also got at the grocery store. I'm going to use these to move my ink around, but you can use a fork or a toothpick or your hand, really anything you want. And then I also made a pick. This is called a pick. It's just a piece of cardboard that I taped pieces of skewer to that I'm also going to use to move my ink around. To wipe the shaving cream off, I've got a piece of cardboard here because most of you probably have cardboard at home. But if you do have one, alternatively, you can use a printmaking squeegee to wipe your shaving cream off. For paper, I have some nice drawing paper here. And then I also have a piece of printer paper, which is probably what most of you have at home. So I will do both of these. For cleanup, make sure that your surface is covered with newspaper. I've heard that you can do this directly on the table, but I'm not going to risk it. For me, I have this shoebox that you can see I've cut pieces off here to use for my pick and my scraper, but I'm going to scrape my shaving cream into this shoebox to make cleanup easier. So that is an option if you would like to do that as well. Okay, let's get started. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is shake your shaving cream up. If you've worked with shaving cream before or have ever shaved, you would know that. But that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to spray a thin layer onto the bottom of our pan. You don't need too much, but you do need enough that it's going to make an even layer across. You'll take your scraper and make that even top layer. You don't have to press very hard. The shaving cream will stick to itself. And you'll see I've got a nice smooth layer across the top. This is what I'm going to suspend my ink into, and you can set this aside for scraping later. I love green, so I'm going to start with green, and you can just drop it wherever you'd like. I'm also going to use some blue. Don't you have to use a whole lot to make a really pretty composition. I've got my pick and I can start moving my colors around. You can see that only using one skewer kind of gives you that linear effect, but then if I pick up my pick, I can move the colors faster and they start to blend into each other more. I think I'm going to add a little bit of yellow. Just a little bit in there. And move that into my design. You can get pretty muddled and messy in here and it will still turn out pretty cool. Okay, next thing you're going to do is take your paper. I'm going to start with my printer paper because this is probably what you guys have. You just set it on top. And then you're going to start tapping it to let that ink get soaked into the paper. Once you think you've tapped on it enough, you're going to peel it up. This is going to look pretty gross, but you're going to take your scraper and you can hold it from the top, scrape down, and you've got some beautiful marbling. Scrape this into my shoebox, do the other side. And voila! You can see that our paper soaked up those colors of ink and we've got some beautiful marbling happening all over our paper. Okay, so you can see that I just took my scraper and I scraped off some of that top ink that was there, and I'm going to try and reuse this shaving cream. So let's see what happens if I use different colors on top of what we've already got here. I'm going to use a little bit of red. And I think I'm going to do a bit of a Christmas one since we are in December. I just wanted to show you guys that you can reuse this shaving cream if you start to change your mind about colors a lot, or if things start to get really messy, you can scrape all the shaving cream out into your box and start over. That will totally work. I'm gonna move my colors around. Just gonna do a fast one here, see what happens. I've got my paper. This is my drawing paper. Stick that in there. Tap on it, push down a little bit. You do not have to press very hard, because if you press too hard, then your shaving cream is gonna come up the sides. Peel that off. You can see it's mostly green and red because those are the colors that were suspended above the shaving cream. Okay, we do have a little bit of that blue and yellow in the background, but it's kind of faded. I just wanted you guys to see what happens when you recycle that first layer of shaving cream. I think this is still pretty great. So for cleanup, obviously you can just wash your dish in the sink and throw your shoebox out, pile all your newspapers in there, and throw it in the trash. And cleanup is actually pretty easy. With these papers, you can take them and you could make them into cards, birthday cards. You could turn them into a cover of a book. You could stick them inside of one of those clear ornaments and make Christmas ornaments. This one especially would look very nice in a Christmas ornament. This is great to do with younger kids. I've done this with kids as young as 3 or 4 actually. It will get a little bit messy when you've got little hands working in the shaving cream and scraping things off, but they can have quite a bit of autonomy with something like this, and the results end up being really pretty. I hope you guys enjoyed this.